Oh man, it has been a beautiful month, man. October. I really dislike the fall in general. My favorite months are the summer months, of course, right? But I hate mosquitoes. Here in Ohio, we have such a problem with mosquitoes. And I don't know if it's my blood type or what, but they just swarm me. So I really like summer, but I hate the mosquitoes. I I feel like I can get more comfortable though in cooler weather because you can only take off so many layers before someone calls the police, right? But the fall, I like I like early fall. This late fall, man, I don't like all the wet. I really dislike all the rain that we've been having. And it's been like 40 days and 40 nights kind of stuff here in Ohio. And I'm just kind of sick of it. And it's kind of funny because we had all this rain for so many days. And the other day I was at school and the sun came out and it was beautiful weather. It was still kind of cool, but I was like, man, the whole time when I was looking outside and I saw the sun out, I was like, man, I could be hitting the woods. I could be getting some squirrel. And I was biting at the bit. But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, October has been a heck of a month. And I thought I'd kind of class it up a little bit this month. You see my nice 1920s inspired smoking jacket, right? I'm not some type of heathen. Sometimes I can clean up a little bit, which brings me to my beard and my mustache. I got some comments today and actually the past couple of days, but got quite a few today that I noticed that said, "What happened to your beard, man? Why'd you shave it off?" For two reasons. Two reasons. The first one, my whole family, my entire family dressed up like the Addams family this year for Halloween. It was the first time that we've ever done a family Halloween thing, and it was fun. My middle child, he was cousin Nit, and he was like the star of the show. Everywhere we went, it's like cousin Nit, cousin Nit. And my daughter was Wednesday, of course. My wife was Morticia, and my oldest boy was a lurch. And he's as tall as I am, 6'1". At 13 years old, he's 6'1". You know, um, and I went as Gomez, of course. Hey, how you doing, Tracy? You like this time of the year because it calls out the amateurs and the bugs. Plus, the campfire seems so much more. That's so true. That is so true. Like this weather is the perfect weather to actually be around a campfire. During the summer months, I don't usually. I'll go around the campfire, but I kind of keep my distance. At night, that's one thing. But even at night, like, I'd rather have the lanterns on the side and give me the ambient light. Hey, good evening, Joe. Joe, my brother from another mother, man. It's so cool that you're joining me on one of these, man. It's good to see you, buddy. Terrence, hi. How you doing? How you doing? It's awesome to see y'all. Thanks for joining me today. So that's why I shaved the beard at first. It's for the family, for Halloween. I love Halloween. I got to get into it. And all my students, of course, they crazy too. They didn't know who to expect in the classroom. But I also have a living history event. So if you're in Ohio, if you're around Ohio, you want to make the trip. We have this really cool historic village. It used to be called the Ohio Historical Society. Now it's called Ohio History Connection. And there they've got this massive village in the back. And the second weekend, November, I got to check my calendar real quick. Yeah, next weekend, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'm really stoked about it. They're putting on this living history event that's post World War II. So it's like all the guys came back after the war and everything. They decorate the entire town, and they have living historians that are doing first-person impressions. And of course, I'm going as a 1940 Scoutmaster. They hooked me up with a house and everything. It's going to be cool. So if you're in the area, come check it out. Oh, yeah, you camped in Halloween? That's cool. It got pretty cold on Halloween, on actual Halloween night here. It was like in the 40s. In the morning, it was spitting some snow and everything. That's cool, man. Hobo camping is a great time, dude. It really is, especially as you guys point out, the mosquitoes. So I would rather sleep under the stars or with a tarp over me, when there's not going to be rain in the fall weather than in the summer because of those mosquitoes. I'll do it for the scouts and everything, but I'm not going to be a happy guy about it. So that's cool, man. I'm glad you were able to get out. You camp on Halloween night? That's awesome, Taz. Hey, nice to see you too, buddy. I haven't talked to you in forever, man. It's good to see you're on. Thanks for joining me, dude. So, yeah. Oh, Miss Klein. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. My wife, she prefers the beard. As soon as the 1940s event is over, I'm going to grow it back. I got to have a beard in the cold weather. There's a reason why we are blessed with the hair. It's already 32. It's been hitting 32 at night. Last night, I saw it got down to at least 34 because I wake up at like 5:30 at the crack of dawn, and it was 34 degrees this morning. I don't know if I can go back on my app here and see what it was the previous night. So it's going to get down to 32. It's going to get down to 32 tonight by 7 a.m. here in central Ohio, 32 degrees. And then it goes back up. And the high for tomorrow is going to be 60 degrees. It's so weird. Ohio's weather, you never know what you're going to get. When people come here from Ohio, if they're not from it, and I'm sure like the other Midwestern states kind of have the same thing, but if you ask an Ohioan about the weather, hey, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Just wait, 10 minutes and it could change. You never know what it's going to be. Taz, you camping out tonight? Well, bless you, dude. Bless you. It's actually not going to rain, so it's a good time to do it in our area. So that'll be fun, man. Get the fire going. And that, hey, Joey. Now, where is that? Where is Minnesota? That took me a moment. I've never heard it called that, but I like it, man. Do you have any recommendations for wool vests? I have an old Woolrich. I love Woolrich. I also have a plaid Woolrich vest. But if you're looking for a reproduction, actually, give me a second. I'll go grab my black wool vest and I'll let you know what I got. So that vest is Frontier Classics. And I asked my wife for it for Christmas last year because it's 100% wool. It's not, if you're a stitch counter or whether it's not 100% historically accurate, okay, but it is close enough. It is really, really close enough as far as the style and everything to be historically accurate. I'm good with it. But what I really like about this vest is it's actually wool on the back and the front. So if you're actually trying to layer up historically, that's what you want. A lot of historic vests, they either had like the polished cotton or they had the satin on the back or even a silk back. But if you're an outdoors person, you want wool all the way around you. So Outdoor Classics made this one. I think it was from River Junction, I think, where I got it. But I love it, man. Like the whole year I've been wearing it, when I go camping and stuff. Of course, I do my YouTube stuff too. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. It's like $75, but it's been worth every single penny, man. It's been worth every penny. I'm looking for warmth. That's what you would do, man. Because this is not. So it's not a blanket weight wool. So it's not as heavy as a Woolrich coat, okay, which uses that heavy duty wool. This is a layered wool. And if you read Kephart's book and Edward Caves, and they talk about clothing, but Kephart did a really good job of explaining why certain pieces of clothing and equipment is the best for why he was saying it. And due to the layering, especially as you're moving around, you get warm. And if you stay still for a period of time, you're going to get cold, things like that. So if you're actually doing outdoor activities, splitting wood, or you're going on a hike or things like that, you may need to adjust. So he believed in several layers. In fact, he even believes that a sweater is better than a coat overall. But if the rain or snow is coming down, then a mackinaw, that traditional Filson or Woolrich heavy duty wool coat, the mackinaw is the best to get. A union suit, a chamois shirt, wool vest, and my Woolworth. And it is, man. It really is. I live off of that. I got a question today about one of my old videos. It was my box video for deer camp. So this was like last year, the year before when I did that video. I should redo it because I definitely have better sound and video equipment now. But the guy asked, well, what about the gasoline for your stove? And what about your long johns, right? And I responded to him that I wear the long johns. I don't take an extra pair of long johns. And I don't like my clothes to smell like gasoline. I have a box specifically separated for the gasoline and the stove. I need to get myself a Stormy Chromer. Those things are pretty classy. They're kind of pricey if you want like a legitimate one. And when I go on eBay and I try to find used ones, I can't find them my size. I got a melon of a head. Buy once, cry once. I agree, man. So my father-in-law, he really taught me that with tools. That was like my very first experience, because when I was in college working my way through, he hired me for a season and I was installing windows and garage doors, working my way through college, right? And, being new into the industry, I'm trying to buy all my tools and I tend to buy the cheaper stuff. And he kind of yelled at me. He lectured me. It was like, man, tools is something you don't half on, right? So, and it was true because like almost every other tool that I bought, it broke that summer. So I did learn my lesson. But I agree with outdoor gear as well. Anything that you're actually going to rely on, and especially cold weather, it could save your life. Yes, buy once, cry once, make the investment for sure. So I kind of thought tonight I would show you some things that I recently picked up for my living history. Look at that. A handbook for boys. So I got this because of the living history. It takes place in 1945, and I did not have a copy of this handbook to show people as they come in and visit me. But I was pretty excited because, let's see if it gets it. Let's see. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but it's 1945. I got my 1945 handbook for boys. Hey, Emmanuel. Good to see you, man. I didn't think I'd see you on here, but thanks for joining me, dude. I haven't even had a chance to dive into it. I haven't had a chance to dive into it. I'm really excited. But what's really cool is I think I paid $20 for it, right? But it was a bundle deal. It also came with this. So like the pamphlet, Boy Scout requirements for tenderfoot, second class, and first class ranks, dated 1950. So that was cool. Nice little bonus. And this is neat. I don't have any historic Cub Scout books, but this is a Wolf book from 1938. So I've got some reading material. I got a stack of reading material I need to catch up on. I tend to do my reading in between classes or while I'm waiting for my son to finish his basketball practice, things like that. That's usually when I get my reading in. Other than that, I'm doing lesson plans for class, or I'm grading papers and stuff for my students. I don't get to read until the summer or breaks. So I'm pretty excited about it, man. I love these old books. They're a lot more reliable than the newer ones. I I don't want to say too much on that, but I think the old handbooks gave more valuable outdoor information. The Mojave. Whoa. Dang, dude. That's cool. Making the moccasins. What kind of skin are you using? It's old cowhide. Nice. I want to get myself some bison leather. In fact, so I tried to make a deal several months ago with a local bison farm. I was going to do a podcast interview and talk to him and everything. And they kept communicating back and forth. But when I was actually trying to set down the date because they agreed to it and everything, they kind of ghosted me. But I was really wanting to work with them and eventually get a bison hide, a bison robe, and show you guys how to flesh it out, how to brain tan it, and all this other stuff. And of course, I'd have this really awesome, really expensive, because they're not cheap, bison robe to take on cold weather campouts. You know, like put that down, it's like a mattress, really thick hair. You know, so yeah, bison. That's some good stuff. Let me get myself some of that to make some sheaths. Right now, I've just got about 10, 12 ounce leather. Let's do some updates with the channel. Last month was a big month, man. It was by far the most successful month that I've ever had personally. You know, when we're talking about like bucket list goals, I was so excited to get Dave Canterbury on the channel and have that conversation with him. And through that awesome conversation, you know, we built a relationship. He even invited me to come out to his property and host an early 20th century squirrel hunt, because we're on a lot of the same Facebook groups and stuff, historic Facebook groups. Dave really likes history. If you didn't know that about Dave, especially watch some of his really old videos, but he was a reenactor, living historian, and he just loves campcraft. He loves history. So anyhow, on the Facebook groups, I said, hey guys, I'm trying to put together this, you know, early 20th century themed squirrel hunt. I was thinking about doing it either at Wayne National Forest here in Ohio or Dillon State Park here in Ohio. But he comes back to me and says, hey man, how about you come down to my place? I'll host it. I was like, man, that's really cool, dude. Are you sure you want to take on the liability? What about the restrooms and all this other stuff, right? Because we're actually hunting, so there's going to be guns involved in everything. He says, man, I got you covered, you know? So I'm just really excited about working with Dave, about getting that planned out. So if you are interested in coming to that's that really cool, great opportunity to do a historic themed hunting camp out with me next October. It'll be the last weekend of October next year. So I got a whole lot of time to plan it out. Then, you know, you subscribe to my newsletter, of course, but you can send me an email and I'll try to get a list going to that way, keep people notified. But it's going to be early 20th century theme. So that means if you're not a living historian, if you're not familiar with reenacting or whatever, there's actually standards to it. So you got to have, you know, equipment that was, and clothing, of course, it was before 1938 and after 1910. So somewhere between 1910 and 1938. So it'll be a great time. And of course, you can use any type of firearm that's before 1938. Here in Ohio, we only allow straight wall cartridges for hunting. You can't use neck. I don't know why you would use a neck cartridge for a squirrel anyways. Most people, I think, are probably going to bring a shotgun. Here in Ohio, late October, we still got a lot of leaves on the trees. But yeah, so keep that in mind if you're wanting to make the trip to Dave Canterbury's Pathfinder School. I'm sure you'll see him and visit with him. We'll have a great time around the campfire. I think we're going to do a shooting competition throughout the day, because squirrels are really only active in the early mornings and in the evenings. The rest of the day, you know, you just forget about it. You know, sit back, relax, and have some fun, putter around. But yeah, it was a great conversation. That was really awesome. I also got to talk to Tom Sega of Duluth Pack, and if you like quality gear, and I'm not just saying it, man, I've got 100-year-old packs from Duluth Pack Company The leather is still solid. The canvas just needs to be repaired in some areas. The canvas isn't dry rotted. And that says a lot about a company's equipment, the care that they put into it, and the quality of materials that they must have bought even way back then. So I had that great conversation with Tom Sega, and afterwards he actually invited me to be an affiliate for the company. So I'm trying to see what's all involved with that, and I'm really excited about it. So well, thank you, Terrence. I appreciate you enjoying the interview with Mr. Sega, because I liked it. It's definitely not a top performing video on my YouTube channel or on my my podcast, but I thought it was a fantastic conversation. And Mr. Sega is a great guy. We had conversation after, when the mic shut off and everything, about hunting and everything. He is such a laid back, feet hits the dirt kind of guy. Like, he's not some cigar smoking fat big wig who is so detached from whatever company that he's a part of. Like, he really does walk the walk and talk the talk. Been a good year. I had a another podcast with Mr. Denny, who's a patron, and he's constantly sharing stuff on the Facebook groups and things like that. And I almost have it finished editing it. We are having issues with the lag, so it's taken me a long time to edit that one. And most of my podcasts, all my podcasts so far, I think are about an hour. So it takes a long time to cut it down. So I'm getting ready to post that on the patron page and on my podcast episodes and stuff. It was pretty interesting because he lives in the Adirondacks of New York, and he shares his experiences with it. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed talking to him about it. What else happened? Oh, and I've got a super rare knife that, I guess it's not super rare, but they're just very collectible, and they're kind of expensive when you find it. I found one that was actually affordable, and it was a thistle head knife. Yeah. All right. Take a look at this thing. Look at this thing. This is cool. So I was really excited about this knife because I found it in a couple historic camping manuals. Everybody's kind of got their favorite. And this was in 2 of the books. And it's really unique because of that little pommel there. And I love the construction about it. There's some serious nuances. I'll have to do a video just on this knife and breaking down some of the nuances. But look at that knife. Isn't that cool? It's in really good shape. And it's kind of interesting because this one, due to the Ebro, E-B-R-O, that's on there, which I don't know if it probably won't focus, but George Wassenholm actually has a history with this company and the word Ebro. And if you're familiar with my channel going all the way back to the very beginning, George Wassenholm made straight razors. And I love collecting 19th century, especially English, straight razors. So that is a great knife, And I haven't sharpened it. I took it out of the sheath and I used it a little bit to make some cuts and to make some notches. And it handles beautifully. This would be a great hunting knife. So yeah, I'll do a separate video on this, give you all the lowdown, all the specs on it and everything. And I'm working with somebody who I'm really close with. This is actually a teaser, I guess. You guys get the inside scoop on it. I used to work with a guy at a retail store that some of you might know called GameStop. I actually worked there through college as well. I had a lot of different jobs before I became a teacher. I got around. But I worked with this guy at GameStop, and he was younger than me, right? He was in high school and everything when I was still in college. When he got out of high school, he decided to join the Army. We stayed friends on Facebook and everything. We've seen his kids grow up and some of his awesome achievements that he's done. But anyhow, he got into blacksmithing and knife making. So I asked him, I was like, hey, man, I've got some ideas. Would you be willing to help me out, partner with me? So that's something we're trying to work through right now and see if it's even plausible. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I know, man. Talking about Civil War videos. Yeah, I didn't know I'd get this far either. And I've got to be honest with you. So I'm kind of a little bit on a burnout. I think it's because I love the YouTube stuff. I love sharing the knowledge and everything with everybody. That's why I do it. I love education as all together, right? I just love teaching. And at some point where you're constantly looking at your YouTube stats and you're looking at how well your videos do or don't do and things like that, it kind of plays some mind games with you. And it's hard sometimes to push through that, where you're like, man, I made this great video. I thought I put a lot of work into it and a lot of value and everything into it. And it just doesn't hit. You're only getting, a few subscribers compared to, your past 5, 6, 7 videos. And you're like, I don't get it, So it's sometimes it's a struggle. Right now, like I said, I'm a little bit of burnout because of that, and I full-time job and all that stuff. And I really like doing videos when I can get outside, but it's really hard to do that for lots of reasons, because it takes so much time, for one, right? To set up the camera, audio, lighting, you got to get out all right. You got to bring out all the stuff. You got to prepare whatever it is you're going to talk about. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, but really just the time of getting away from home, getting away from my family, and dedicating a big chunk of time just to do the recording. And then, of course, you got to edit it afterwards, right? So that's what I really like doing, but I just can't do that much of it. So normally, when I have my days off, like just recently, I got a day, well, I wasn't able to get out because it was raining and everything. Like, it was pouring on the day I had off. But when my school gives me an extra day, I try to hit the woods. If my wife's working, my kids are in school, I can do that. But thank you. I appreciate that, because you guys saying, good job and patting me on the back and saying that you like videos and responding on the channel and stuff, that's really what drives me forward. It really, really is, so I really do appreciate it. So, yeah. So there's that update about, last month, what's coming up this month. I'm trying to get Coalcracker Bushcraft to respond to me to be on my podcast. He hasn't responded to me yet. I sent him an email. I sent him, a Facebook Messenger. I think I even sent it on his Instagram and tried to slid him a DM and stuff. The only thing I haven't done, I think, is actually write an old-fashioned letter and send it to him. So I think I'll do that. But I'd really like to get him on, because several people on the channel asked, for an interview from him. I've thought about reaching out to Blackie Thomas. No one really said that they were interested in an interview from Blackie. When I surveyed, I sent that request out for people to say, hey, who would you like me to talk to, If you've liked this video, found it useful or entertaining, please click like. That way other people find it. You'll be helping them out as well. We really appreciate it. I think Blackie would probably get on, Terrence. I think he would be pretty likely to jump on with me. He tends to like getting around on outdoor channels and, of course, getting his knowledge out there and his face out there. So I think it'd be a good possibility. So we'll see. Another person that I try to get on was, I think, Buck Knives. I tried to reach out to Buck Knives. I reached out to Lodge. Lodge actually sent me an email saying, hey, contact this person. I haven't responded back, or they haven't responded back to me. So it could be getting Lodge on there. That would be pretty cool. Terrence, do you know Blackie? If you know Blackie, then sure. Say, hey, this guy named Sean on Honorable Outfitters would, like to interview you. He's on a couple of my Facebook groups too. He's not all that active. He doesn't really put anything on them or respond. I think he just kind of lurks and sees what's up. But yeah, Terrence, man, go for it, man. I'd appreciate it. That means a lot to me. That really does. Thank you. So, are there any personalities or companies? Since I got 7 people on here. This is like the most I've ever seen on one of these. But is there any personalities that you guys would like me to talk to or try to reach out to? Put it in the messages, and I'll get the list going. I'll add it to it. I got an awesome list right now. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. Townsend's would be really cool. In fact, if you did watch my video with Dave Canterbury, I asked him on there if he ever talked to Townsend. And it surprised me, especially since he grew up in Indiana. Townsend is in Indiana, that he never talked to him. So if I talk to Townsend and maybe even get like a dual interview with both those guys on there, just talking living history and frontier life and stuff, man, that would be another bucket list item. I'd really like to talk to that guy because he was actually a big inspiration when I was a kid doing living history and Civil War. I'd get his catalogs and peruse them every Christmas, and it would be lots of different things on that list. So that would be pretty cool. But I'm trying to also see if there is any interest in like a free master class where I could do something like this live and answer people questions about a specific topic. So I put that out there today on YouTube and got a couple people responding. It is really hard for outdoor education to have a true online masterclass. It's a lot easier to teach somebody when they're right in front of you or you're out in the field doing something. But I also thought maybe even like a master class on soft skills. I think there's a lot of people who watch the channel who actually know a tremendous amount of outdoor knowledge and outdoor skills and even history skills. It would be really cool if these people who knew these skills and had this knowledge would actually go out and impart it in various different ways. But I'm a teacher, and I teach every single day. So public speaking and those soft skills that are involved in teaching, even the hard skills about how to communicate things in a way and layer things in a way, I think I'm pretty good at, not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm pretty good at it. But I don't know if there's really a desire in the outdoor community to learn any soft skills. Terrence, I appreciate the compliment, dude. That means a lot to me. And Alphonse, everybody thinks outdoor stuff gets done in seconds. Let it run in real time. Spin that BTW drill. There's a perfect example. No doubt, dude. No doubt. I try to teach the adults in my troop and the scouts how to do a friction fire. And I even had a competition with the adults, and all of them wore out before they could actually get, the coal. They were able to get smoke. It's really easy to get smoke from a drill fire. That's simple enough, right? But to actually do it enough that you build up the powder and get that coal, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. So Terrence, you're good at friction fires. Yeah? That's cool. Yeah, Dave and Townsend are like the superstars. And they've been on YouTube forever. They've been on forever, man. They're great guys. They really do it, I think, for the right reasons. I don't think they're really doing it for the get rich quick or certainly they're making money, and both of them have businesses. But if you watch, especially Townsend, if you watch Mr. Townsend and his videos, he does it from the heart. And honestly, I don't think he even cares if it gets a whole lot of videos. He's really doing it just because he's wanting to get the information out there. All right, Richard, I'll take you up on that, man. I got you, buddy. Man, if any of you guys don't know Richard from Over on the Wild Side, you have got to check out his YouTube channel. The guy is really living the dream, especially the bachelor's dream, man. He's got property out there. He does horses. He fully experiments with homesteading is really what it is. But it's like historical homesteading. And he does modern stuff now. So he like transitions. He's constantly learning. He's the forever student. So check out Over on the Wild Side with Richard. He's a good buddy of mine, and you won't meet a nicer guy. So thanks for joining, Richard. I appreciate you hanging on, dude. And this is my first official live in the open. Now, Miss Klein, who's on my Patreon, she's been my only guest when I do my Patreon exclusives. So I asked her and a couple other people last month. I was like, hey, like we're only getting like 2 or 3 people on here. It'd be kind of cool to, get more involvement, get more discussion going. And they agreed. So that's why we're doing this, because this is one of my bonuses to my Patreons, and my Patreons are good people. They're like, nah, yeah, open it up. Open it up. So I'm going to take a drink real quick. So if none of you have ever had a smoking jacket, they are actually pretty daggone comfortable. And this is a cheapie. This is like a costume one. Costing like $65. I have wanted a smoking jacket for like 6 or 7 years. I even was tempted to buy a historic pattern to make mine, because I reached out to some seamstresses I knew in the living history field. I was like, hey, how much would it cost for a legitimate smoking jacket? And it was going to cost like $600 or $800 for some of them, And I found this for $65 to do the whole Gomez thing. I was like, this is probably as close as I'm going to get to a smoking jacket. If I spent that kind of money on a smoking jacket, I think my wife would have divorced me. She already, helps me toe the line so I'm not financially ignorant or stupid. So God bless her. I appreciate all of her. So what's some examples of soft lessons? So what I was thinking, man, okay, so how about like designing lessons, like literally designing lessons. When you're trying to teach somebody a skill, you're trying to pass on a skill, how would you break that down into various parts? And not only break it down into various parts, but how could you expand on those various parts to make them connecting to the student or to the person you're trying to teach? So, but yeah, that's one soft skill. Another skill I think is really important when it comes to teaching people is just speaking. Like there is a skill, and Richard, you know this because you're also in the comedy and everything. There's a skill in how you verbally communicate, whether it be fluctuating your voice and non-verbally communicating, like with your body. Because whether we realize it or not, especially with this TikTok society that we are in, people have to be engaging. If people are not engaging one way or the other, the student loses, and you got to be able to read the room, things like that. So those are a couple soft skills I was thinking about. Other skills I was thinking about, what makes a quality presenter, right? So if you are trying to teach someone a skill, honestly, being a student is way more important than being a teacher, because the best teachers really are constantly learning. They're not just satisfied with seeing something, putting it in their brain and regurgitating it, right? The best teachers are taking that thing and seeing how they can apply it to lots of different ways. That's also where you get ingenuity from. Yeah, learning pyramids are fantastic, man. Absolutely. Yeah. So in Scouts, we teach our leaders and Scouts, the senior patrol leaders, etc., and all Scouts in general, because they all actually have to do this for one of the requirements. We use something called the EDGE method, right? And it's an acronym, EDGE. E is for explain, so you explain whatever it is. D is demonstrate, so you are showing them how to do whatever it is you're doing. G is you're guiding them. So they have the rope, for example, in their hand, and you're telling them, okay, to make a square knot, you're going to take the rope in the right hand and you're going to put it over your left hand, et cetera, right? So you're guiding them, and then you enable them, which means that they have to demonstrate it without any guidance, without any supports, etc. Terrence, thank you for teaching kids camping skills. There are so few youth that are really getting the opportunity to get outdoors, unless you're a rural youth. If you're a rural youth, then yet there's plenty of opportunity. But I have taught my entire teaching career in urban settings and inner city settings, right? And when I take these kids to a living historical farm, for example, like they're all just like freaking out just because there's flies around, or there's mosquitoes, or a duck comes near them, right? They just freak out, right? And we need people who are even in the inner city who's willing to, host classes or try to, scouts or 4-H or whatever, volunteering to, at city parks or whatever, and doing an outdoor skills day. Because without kids, valuing, this is true when you think about it, without kids valuing the outdoors, when they're the future, when it comes time, to support a park system or, get new playground equipment or whatever, if they don't value it, they're not going to vote for it. All right, Alphonse, you got a scouting question. Back in the olden days, you remember a Hitler youth belt knife with a U.S. scouting emblem on it. Do you know if it was legit or just Chinese junk? If it had the American fleur-de-lis with the eagle and the shield, that is junk. I'd say that's a fantasy item. Now, there are lots of Hitler used style knives that came out from various different countries, especially over in Europe, post-war and before the war, right? But the U.S., if you look at all the catalogs from the 20th century, none of them were a Hitler Youth style knife. They were like the Western knife, K-bar knife, just like a Bowie knife like Remington. If you look at the marbles, so if you look at the marbles woodcraft knife, because marbles actually supplied knives to the Boy Scouts of America that way, there you go. Now there's lots of manufacturers who would put Scout on it, because Scouts back in the day, man, it was like the thing to be in. Not so much anymore, but it really was the thing for youth to be in. So lots of companies marketed themselves using Scout's fame. They would just say Scout on the blade or Scout on the handle or on the scales. When I was a Scout it wasn't a small village when I was a kid. It was a decent city. Well, not as large as Columbus, but it was pretty decent. In fact, it was only 30 minutes away from Columbus. The troops there were hit or miss. The ones that were really active and actually got outdoors, their scoutmasters were generally scouts from like the 50s and the 60s, or maybe even before. The scout troops that didn't do anything, they tended to be ran by the scout leaders who, just in it for their kids, but they were probably more into sports or something. They didn't really have a lot of outdoor acumen or care. And this is not to knock the sports, it's really not. But there is only so much time that a parent has and a kid has after school. And more sports took up the entire week. So there are troops that all the kids in the troop were part of a sport, and they would kind of rotate around in those sports. So they actually did more sports than they ever did outdoor camping. So it is hit or miss. Are you familiar with a group called Royal Rangers? It was with the Assembly of God Church. Yeah, I actually knew a couple Royal Rangers back in the day. I don't know if they're still around, honestly. There's currently a growth in Baden-Powell Scouts. It's literally part of the World Scouting movement, but they tend to try to fall back on Baden-Powell's original handbook for boys. So that I've been kind of interested in that. I honestly thought about putting my own kids in that program, but I'm an Eagle Scout, and I've got a lot of loyalty to that. I'd really like to see my own kids get Eagle if that's something that they want. I'm not that helicopter parent that's going to push them. If they decide they don't want to do it, that's fine. It's not going to mean so much to them if I have to push them into it. But as a Scoutmaster, I figure I can make the program as close as it can be to traditional scouting with modern scouting or modern American scouting fundamentals and skills, or whatever you want to call it. I also live in a very rural area, and all the parents of my scouts are very involved, and all the dads hunt and fish and camp and stuff. And I have an assistant scoutmaster who's also an Eagle Scout. So I think my troop's pretty safe with getting outdoors. We go camping every month. In fact, we got to camp out here in 3 weeks, and some of the kids are not really looking forward to it because it's going to be cold, but it'll be great. So you were a ranger since the 70s. That's cool. Now, you have to let me know in the text, what are some of the differences between Royal Rangers and the Boy Scouts of America, besides the religious component? Because I know it has a religious component. That's why it was sponsored by the church. Yeah, I'd love to hear more. All right. So we have like 8 minutes, man. This show has flown by. This has been so much fun with you guys actually participating and engaging in the conversation. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night. I hope it's been of value to you guys. I hope you guys liked it. But yeah, so this upcoming month, I'm trying to think if I was going to give you guys an update, or if I already did give you an update about this upcoming month. I have not got somebody lined up for the podcast yet, so that might just be me recording a particular podcast. I was going to do a video on this night and give you guys all the specs about it, and show you some history about it and the company and everything. This is pretty cool. I really like it. And I was thinking about discussing, what was it? Oh, no, I'll save that one. I want that one to be a surprise, because if I tell you guys now, it's, you're gonna think it's like whatever. So Richard, the Tactical Voice Controversial, it'd be good to see something new take its place, maybe with the fathers and sons together. Yeah. All right, I'm going to level with you guys. I love traditional scouting. I love the program. In fact, I was a district executive for the Boy Scouts, so I was sworn in and everything, and took an oath to lead the program as best as I could. So it really resonates with me pretty hardcore. But if I was a betting man, I do not think the Boy Scouts of America will last another 50 years. I hope it does. Okay. I think outdoor program, no matter what it is good for kids. As long as it's safe, of course, and as long as things are put in place to ensure the safety. But I would be really surprised if the Boy Scouts of America lasted another 50 years. Have you ever read about the mounted troop in BSA? It's a dream of mine to get my troop to get over to that. No, I have not. I have to look at out. Yeah, that'd be really cool. There's a couple of scouts in my troop who are really big in horses. And I used to have a horse too. I had a Mustang. And man, was he awesome. I had some big dreams for him to do long distance competitions and stuff with that guy. But when you're a college kid, owning a horse, not having the land to actually, feed the horse and the horse to stay on, it gets kind of expensive. So I had to get rid of my buddy. And that breaks my heart. Someday I might get another horse. I don't know. But that would be really cool, dude. Having a whole troop that's mounted, and go out on campouts, put the tents on the back, do some cowboy camping. Hey, Richard, there you go, man. There you go. You could start something like that. So Terrence, you said some of the differences is that the pledge is different, but we use a lot of the Boy Scout guides and books, and we teach a lot of survival stuff, but it's a dying organization. Just like, man, so many youth organizations are dying. So the Royal Rangers do a lot and encourage father-son involvement. That's cool. I think that's really important. For male development, having positive male figures. In fact, as a teacher, I'm going to go off books here. Okay, so as a teacher in an urban city, if a kid does not have a male figure in their life, you can see a huge difference in behaviors and academics. It's a sad correlation. I'm not saying that single parent, moms or whatever can't have strong academic kids. Like they can, okay? but you can easily see the relatable. And what's even worse, when I worked at the jail, a juvenile jail for a year, it really broke my heart because every single kid that came in there came from a single parent household and they didn't have a father figure. Every single one. And the statistics are insane because once you're in the jail system here in the United States, you have a 75% chance of getting back in if you're a male. Okay. Think about that. So you have 75% chance, likelihood, right? You're 75% more likely to get put back in jail. And then if you are a father, so if you're a convict, right? If you've been in the system and you are a father, so you have a son or daughter, your children have a huge likelihood of getting in jail. That's really sad. That's pretty sad. Miss Ponce! Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is awesome. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. Have you been on this entire time? It's kind of weird having people like you really know, like you shake hands with and you talk to them on a daily basis, and they come on. Miss Ponce, this is my very first live stream, very first time. So if you've been watching, you had to let me know how I've been doing, if it's any good. Alphonse, one more scout question. About 20 years ago, I had a scout rifle, no scout markings. It was a 22, and it had a keyhole lock in the wood foregrip. Did you ever see one? All right. So I have never personally seen one up close. I seen for like 1910, 1920s scout rifles on the internet, and I've seen them being talked about on various collector groups and stuff. I have never seen one in person. And I from my understanding, they're extremely collectible and they're pretty rare. So all right, let's try to end this on a positive note. We kind of went down a deep, dark, sad hole, and that's kind of a crappy place to leave a live stream and a great conversation about camping. So I don't know really how to transition from that, but camping in the winter. I'll leave it with this. Okay, so camping in the winter. I'm going to leave you guys with a tip, really important tip. Those of you, especially Taz, you said you're going camping in this really cold weather tonight or something like that. So if you can get those hot hand warmers, right? If you can get those hot hand warmers, activate them, throw them in your sleeping bag at the very, very bottom where your feet are going to touch, okay? You always put socks on over your feet, so you're not going to scorch your feet or anything. And they only get to be about 100 degrees. So that's the temperature of your body. Anyways, so that will help you go to sleep so much better at night when you're doing cold camping. And if you do not have those hot hand things, okay, because they're pretty cheap, but if you don't have them, what you do is before you go to bed, you heat up some water in your cup, in your pan or something. You don't want it boiling per se, right? But you want it near boiling. You pour that into a plastic water bottle. I know this is a historic channel. We usually do metal, but metal will conduct heat twice as fast and stuff. So try to do plastic. Go more modern for this particular tip. If you go historic, then you definitely want to wrap up your canteen or something in a couple layers of socks or t-shirt or something like that. That way you don't scorch your feet. But you heat up the water, you put it in your plastic water bottle, put that in the bottom of your sleeping bag, and it'll do the same thing. Automatically go to sleep. I try to do this fairly quickly because that water, of course, it's radiating heat and everything, but your body is also heating the water. So once it cools down, it's going to essentially act like a battery. Okay, it's going to retain some of your body heat. So as you can see, you're going to be able to sleep a lot better having something warm down by your feet, and of course it's going to radiate through your bag. Also, shake your sleeping bag before you get in it. Get it all fluffed up because you want that hot air to be trapped between all the fibers. So there you go. We're ending on a positive note. So MPG, all right, I'd love to meet you someday. Maybe, dude, that would be pretty cool. I love going hunting. I'd love to take you along. October next year, guys. If you're interested, come out. Be at Dave Canterbury's place. It's going to be a great time. I'm organizing it. I'm also partnering with Early 20th Century Adventures. So Nathaniel Logsdon, which my gosh, here in the YouTube world, he just hit a milestone, 250,000 views on one of his videos. He's a great guy. He deserves it. I'm so happy for him. But he and Sarge Vine, as you guys know, I'm good friends with Sarge as well. They're going to help me be authenticity officers. So we're just starting to plan it out. It's all on me, but I'm pulling my friends. Richard said that he's not coming this October, unfortunately. This upcoming October. He said he's going to get me next year. I'm going to hold you to it, Richard. I hope you can make it, buddy. All right. So, yeah, October would be great. Alphonse. Oh, dude. Sorry about the rifle, man. Sorry. Like, you can find them, but you're going to be paying a pretty penny for it. Terrence, heat rocks and put them in wool socks and put them in your sleeve. Yeah, for sure, Terrence. That's a good idea, too. Just make sure that they haven't been waterlogged, like you're not going down to the creek or something and getting them. But yeah, that's good. And try to avoid sedimentary rocks, because sedimentary rocks are the type that bust. You want something like igneous. So make sure you pay attention to science class, right? That's a good point, Terrence. Thank you for adding that. Buff up those sticks before diving in, yeah. All right, so MPG, if you can't afford a period rifle by then, is that all right? I'm a butcher, so I can just chop up all your stuff. All right, man, if you're serious, if you want to come out, reenactors are great, dude. Like, we always loan gear. There is somebody that will bring an extra rifle or something. If nothing else, I have a 38 special you can hunt with. It's not going to be as unless you're really good at your pistol, but we will have people there, living historians and reenactors, that you can borrow a rifle from. I promise you. You just got to let us know. All right, we'll hook you up. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut this loose because it's 9:30 now. I gotta go to bed and get my beauty sleep. This mustache and beard, you can only do so much. So, guys, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me tonight. This has been so much fun. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and stays dry, not rainy. And if you guys do get out camping, then I hope you guys have a great time. If you are a part of my Facebook group, my Fireside Chats with Honorable Outfitters, and you guys are doing something outdoor related, post a picture of it, because we're having that Friday challenge. And so far, I'm the only one that's posted anything. So, yeah, that'd be tomorrow. So if you've done anything, if you've read a book, if you have went outside and whittled something, whatever you're doing to keep your wit sharp, go ahead and go on Facebook, Fireside Chat with Honorable Outfitters.